All right, we're back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. With us this morning, Murfreesboro Police Chief Karl Durr, Public Information Officer Sergeant Kyle Evans with us. You know, one of the people following us right now, you can call in if you'd like. You see the number on the screen with a question, or you can message us on Facebook at newschannel5.com. Amanda was wondering what level, and we've seen this happen at some establishments, not apartment complexes, in Metro, where something becomes such a public nuisance you can shut it down. I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know if you would ever do that with an apartment complex, because that means evicting some good people. But I mean, right, if you're responding 300 times to a call at an apartment complex a year, at what point is it a public nuisance?
And we've already talked to our our district attorney about that. That's way down the conversation for us. Is that a tool in our tool belt? Yes, but you know, if you, like you said, you could evict some good people in there, but then you start creating housing issues, and who's going to come buy that property, and what are they going to do with it? So you could create further problems by going down that road, and I think that's a tool of a last resort. I think we have many conversations and many other plans and things that we can do well ahead of that. Gotcha.
All right, just wondering. It's a good question. Let's go to Mike is next. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Nick. Good morning, officers. Hey, guys, give me a few seconds here, because this sits right in my living room. I live in a complex right now that is just starting to see an increase in crime. And they're taking some steps to help this, but we've had a violent crime here, and the management sent out a letter to all the community, all the residents, and their answer was, you know, at night, keep your doors and windows locked and your curtains closed. Well, that really stinks. You know, these apartments are owned by corporations, and corporations are not going to spend any more money than they have to. And I've actually seen our security come through this complex before at night, sometimes at maybe 25 and 30 miles an hour. Enough that I was worried that if a child stepped out in front of the security guy would run over them. So I was wondering about Metro and Nashville and Murfreesboro Police Department. People are not going to move into complexes anymore without researching it first.
Well, and Kyle was just saying that.
The police departments could come up with like a rating system for the departments.
Well, as opposed to ratings, you said you can go on. You map crime.
That's right. We have a tool called crimemapping.com. Nashville uses it. Murfreesboro uses it. And you can check out a certain address. You can set up crime alerts so that if you want to know if there's crime happening in a certain geographic region, or you can put a circle around your area to see if there's things happening. It'll send you an alert when crimes are reported. So information is key, but also getting out there and getting to know your neighbors. I think neighborhood crimes in traditional single-family houses are so successful at preventing crime in neighborhoods because they look out after each other. They get to know their neighbors' kids. They start an information sharing, social media, whatever they use. And apartment complexes, a lot of times folks don't get to know their neighbors the way they would in traditional housing neighborhoods. So you can actually start a neighborhood watch in your apartment complex and get out there, get to know your neighbors, and when you see things that are suspicious, as Chief has said, report it immediately. So many times we get calls where someone said, well, I saw someone carrying a flat screen TV down the street, and the dispatcher says, well, okay, where are they now? He said, I don't know, it was last week. You have to call those things in when they happen so that we can help find the person that's committing that suspicious act. And sometimes you say, I don't want to be a nosy neighbor. It's not nosy. You're looking out after the safety of yourself and your neighbors.
Nick, I wanted to address one thing else that he brought up, because I've heard it somewhere else, about us putting some type of label on a community or apartment complex. What we're trying to do is just get the data out there, and put it out there and let people make a decision. You know, we're putting it out in various forms. We're trying to find out how we can get better data to those apartment complexes so they can maybe take more corrective action. There's a lot of things we're looking at, but it's not our job to put a label on something or to say this is, you're safe here but you're not safe here. But our job is to put the information out there so that people can make a decision on their own based upon the data that's available.
Okay, you know, the state does something. You can go to the sex offender registry, punch in, you know, a zip code and find out if there are some registered sex offenders. It just is more of a tool for the public to make their own informed choice, and that's all you do. All right, let's go next to DeLacy. Hi, DeLacy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
What can we do for you? Or do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I own a home in front of where tragedies have happened. And I'm concerned about what the police department is doing for the community around the area of the apartment complex. Could we not have a community meeting to maybe help some of the issues that are going on?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely. You know, it's even if your area has a neighborhood watch, and maybe it's gone by the wayside, you can create a new neighborhood watch. You can get that re-energized, and you can call our police annex. We have a crime prevention specialist, and she'd be glad to help you schedule a neighborhood meeting.
Where an officer will come out, and you'll meet with them and just
discuss issues.
Okay.
Get to know the neighbors.
Okay.
And express your concerns to the police officer. And you know, areas around the apartment complexes, we've had people on foot patrol, bicycle patrol, marked units, unmarked units. So the neighborhoods surrounding the apartment complexes, they've been included. We're doing incredible amounts of extra patrols to try and keep these areas safe. And
the other thing that just happened is they had in Olive Branch, in that neighborhood, the city council had a community meeting several weeks ago, which was on a Sunday afternoon. I attended that, and some of these things were brought up there. So I know the city council has the same philosophy of getting out in the community and having those discussions.
Everyone's attention's involved with this right now. It's important to the public. Security is number one, you know, and when these things happen, the important thing is that they're confident that you guys are responsive. That appears to be the case. Let's go to Megan. Megan, good morning. Okay.
Good morning.
Hey, Megan, I was about to lose you. Go ahead. What's on your mind? That's all right. I know you were waiting. Go ahead.
What is going to be done with the apartment managers? Are they actually going to patrol their properties? Could they be fined, you know, if anything was to happen here on out on their properties?
Yeah, okay, and we touched on that. Now, first of all, didn't you say at the beginning of the show that some of the owners or managers, even from out of town, are coming up to meet with you to get a bigger picture of this, right?
Right. I mean, it's you know, we're looking to how can we provide those managers information better so that they can make good decisions with the people that are residing within there, or their sanctions or the behaviors that need to be dealt with that they were unaware of. So making them aware of the information is one thing. Then the owners of those complexes got to be engaged on how to manage the people that are in there. But I can tell you is from our discussion so far that out of that list that we provided to the media on all the complexes, the management teams from those met with the mayor, myself, and other city leadership to have those discussions. Following that discussion, the management teams have taken upon themselves to start having discussions. What are the best practices? What can we do to make this a safe, livable area?
Yeah, and I think there's a reason for this. I like to think that they're good people, and I'm sure some of them are, and they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. But I think most of us who aren't naive know when those numbers come out, and you're not making a recommendation, but you're just giving the facts. And all of a sudden they see this. The only way to get them, and I think the last caller is right, if it's going to cost them money, unless they have to, they're not going to do it. But if they start losing money because people perceive an area to be unsafe and they can't rent out apartments, that's going to get their attention. And that's just the way it is. Money talks. You know that, Chief. I mean, that's and so that's why you have people coming up. Now, I don't know. Do either of you have any idea what the occupancy rate? I know in Nashville, for instance, there's a big story in the paper today that more rentals need to be built because there just aren't enough to go around. And so, I mean, is it that tight on rentals in Murfreesboro as well?
Yeah, I think we're at 85, 90%.
That high. Then you would think they could be a little more, you know, careful about who they rent to, maybe with their, you know, whatever it is, you know. And
those are discussions that we're having behind the scenes. Okay. I tell you, we're hitting on every idea, and it's problem solving. And there's no silver bullet that's and it's not gonna be fixed in 2 months.
That's the point. It takes a while. Everyone wants it boom like this.
Right.
It takes some time. It just does.
The TV show's done in 48 minutes, right?
No, that's what everyone wants. Why can't it be like on TV, Chief?
My wife tells me, says, hey, CSI could do it. Why can't you? Yeah, it's done in 48 minutes.
It's just like CSI, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Katie. Hi, Katie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. What's on your mind?
I was wanting to know if they feel that a gated community, as far as an apartment complex goes, would that be safer? And if they could, you know, if it was safer, have the apartment complex have those put up?
Oh, okay. I know what she's talking about. You have to have a code to get in, or gate.
Keep the unwanted people out.
Okay, thank you for your call.
And that's a great point. That's part of the conversations. I can tell you the team that came and talked to us talked about putting fencing up, but along with the fencing too is they're talking about having cameras, because nobody wants to be caught on camera. And so they're talking about those things also. So like I said, it's just not one solution fits all, but I think there's multiple approaches on those practices that can be improved upon in these neighborhoods to help make them safer.
Yeah, some of them do have surveillance cameras, I think, don't they? A handful of them?
Some do, and some even have gates. And
yeah, right.
You know, again, it's one of those things where it's
you can breach a gate.
You can breach a gate.
You're a visitor and you're there with someone else, and then trouble happens.
Large parties. You know, you have a resident has a party and it expands to 400 or 500 people over a few minutes because of social media. And one person lets the next one in, and so it always comes back to protecting yourself, and when you see unruly behavior, reporting it.
Okay.
And I think the other piece is everybody has ownership, from the management to the police to the city, but to the community.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to, the community's got to come out and say, hey, that party next door is getting out of control. Let me make a phone call to the police, because bad things happen when there's too many people here.
Yeah, I have several people saying, you know, gates don't always work. You mentioned large parties, and you know how this can take off a life on its own. What was it, a day or two? There was a report of an individual getting shot in the foot, but then it turns out he shot himself. Now, still, that means he had a gun, right? But you know, the initial report, or what he reported, was that, well, I was running from the scene and got shot. You guys did your investigation on the scene quickly and determined that this individual accidentally shot himself. That just, again, it's at a party though, and there may have been a gun there or something, and who knows if he's a visitor or otherwise, right?
Right.
I mean, that's tough. Let's go to Ann. Ann, good morning. Hi, Ann.
Something that just keeps resonating throughout this whole hour is the fact that people are searching for the answer that they're safe. We're not safe. We need to be aware of our circumstances. We need to be aware of where we're at, and we need to be aware of what we're around. As a landlord, there's no way I can police everybody that I rent to, because they're going to send the most professional, the most clean, the most typewritten resume, and they're going to have their references already, and it's going to be the one that slides in the back door with them that's going to be the problem in the rental property. Gates aren't going to keep out bad people. We've got bad doctors, we've got bad lawyers, we've got bad clergy, and until we start treating everybody with respect and being aware of our own circumstances, we're not going to stop being victims. And that's what I had to say.
All right. Yeah, there's personal responsibility for being aware of your surroundings, and like you said, Kyle, reporting things.
Well, it's a simple thing of, like, we saw a string of car burglaries, and Kyle, help me out. I want to say the number 9, but I think 9 weapons were stolen in a short period of time out of cars. Now, where do those 9 weapons go? I mean, the people that break into your car that is left unlocked, that you left a weapon in there, you know, what is the end result of that weapon? So we all have ownership into this as a community. We all have personal responsibilities. Whether you see something, say something, take your valuables, lock them up, put your guns inside the house at night. We have a personal responsibility, and we all have ownership into this situation. That's why I said it's a complex problem. And you know, and the university has ownership. You know, they haven't been part of this our discussion today, but they've got to be a member at the table here to solve this out, because while it might not be on campus, it's off-campus housing. Yeah,
and some of these are students who live in some of these off-campus housing. Not that they're involved with actually these incidents, but they're there. It's a concern for everyone. Listen, we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, it's our final segment. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, the number is 737-7587 if you have a question for the Chief or Sergeant Evans. And if you want to message us, we're streaming live right now on newschannel5.com on Facebook. We'll be back with more right after this.